Ashes of Creation is one of the most hyped MMORPGs currently in development, and given the Riot MMO going back to the drawing board over a year ago, many are looking at it to be the next potential savior of the MMO genre. But what is it about Ashes of Creation that has so many people drawn to it in the first place? How far along in development is the project, and when can we realistically look to be playing the game? Or I guess maybe the better question, is it ever going to fully release, or is it just destined to become the Star Citizen of fantasy-based MMOs? Hi, my name is Spun. I have a sometimes unhealthy obsession with MMORPGs. Geez, I even backed the Ashes of Creation Kickstarter back in 2017, potentially throwing $500 out the window on what looked to be a hopeful future project. But let's take a look at see if it was just all for nothing. In this video, we're going to take a look at the current state of Ashes of Creation, its scope, and how far along it looks like the development team is on the project, as well as talk about whether or not Ashes truly is the last hope of the MMO genre, or if there is any other promising titles that won't evaporate into thin air. When I say I was incredibly optimistic about Ashes, I really mean it. Ashes of Creation, at least in its wiki, which honestly is mostly just a massive design document at this point, shows so many great ideas and future systems that I was really excited and happy to throw money at it, even in the fact that I bought a hat. I bought an Ashes of Creation hat. I've been wearing it on stream because I think it's funny. And to be honest, this hat has traveled with me now from 3 states over the past 6 years. I love open world PvP, full loot, risk versus reward, and other maybe sweaty neckbeard MMO features that Ashes looked like it was gonna really cater to. But I am not fully convinced that they are enough people like myself that really want this kind of game. Though if you look at the vocal minority over on the subreddit, you probably would think that everyone wants this kind of game. Ashes of Creation has a bunch of potential issues with it, and this is true for almost all MMORPGs, and something that I even talked about a year ago on a video I made. But given Ashes' node system, I think their currently planned server structure is kind of doomed from the get-go. Given the fact that the MMO community will often blow up a game and then migrate to the next big thing, even just months after release, they can oftentimes leave servers barren and ultimately leading to server merges, something that I don't think is going to work very well when a population may be small on a server, but they feel connected to their nodes that they've built up. That said, at the end of the day, this might just be a minor issue when compared to the fact that given their current rate of feature implementation, Ashes of Creation is looking at many more years of development. In fact, the original release of Alpha 2, Ashes of Creation's persistent 24/7 test servers that are actually coming out in Q3 of this year, were originally supposed to come back all the way back in 2019. That's 5 years late. But why is it taking them so much longer than they initially intended? I think the most obvious answer to this was their migration over to Unreal Engine 5, something that inarguably has taken up much of their development time and is completely forgivable in my eyes given the videos that they have shown in the new engine. Though something I think may be less forgivable is the topic I want to spend the majority of this video on. How is the team, and more accurately Steven Sharif, handling scope bloat on the project? Now, for those of you that don't know, scope bloat is when the project becomes bigger and bigger and starts adding more features, requirements, or additions, and ultimately slows down the progress and doesn't really give the team a direct finish line for release. And all it takes is a few minutes of listening to Steven speak about Ashes to know that he is someone whom has their finger on the pulse of veteran MMORPGs. Unfortunately, this often translates to what feels like a, at times, overzealous dungeon master, throwing around ideas, classes, combat situations, and more like they're going out of style, with the team just scrambling around behind them trying to take notes and keep up with him. And I think now looking at the Wikipedia and everything he has said, and he says 99% of the things about the game, it looks like the scope is just simply getting too big at this point. Ashes of Creation at release is currently set to feature 64 classes made up of 8 main classes, 9 playable races, 6 religions, class skills, weapon skills, generic skills, 1,200 square kilometer map that will feature nodes, zones of influence, player-ran economy, player businesses, artisan classes, gathering, processing, crafting, quest, world events, naval combat, ship customization, destructible environments, castle sieges, player housing, dungeons, raids, guild halls, social organizations, parlor games, mounts, cosmetics, consumables, rock, paper, scissor, balanced PvP, caravans, guild wars, player corruption, bounty hunters, arenas, achievements, leaderboards, trophy displays, endless exploration, and a goddamn stock exchange. Now, this list seems huge even for a 20-year-old MMORPG, but all of these systems that I described each have tons of microsystems layered underneath of them that have been delivered by the team in their monthly development updates and blog posts, all of which sounds amazing and makes it sound like the best MMORPG of all time. But how much of this have they even finished after 7 years? Of the 8 slated classes, we have seen very work in progress demos of just the mage, tank, cleric, ranger, and fighter. 5 of the 8 archetypes. And we haven't seen rogue yet, which is probably my favorite, so maybe I'm a little jaded on the class thing. They have shown some cool stuff. The most recent fighter actually looks really, really great. The fighter playthrough looks good, but keep in mind, we're 7 years into development at this point. We have only seen a few of the races in engine and only glossed over briefly the 6 religions. Nothing actually set in stone within the game itself, though. And if you want to get started on the map, which is something that, in my opinion, is the longest thing that takes development a ton of time, along with balance and artwork and stuff, but developing a curated, non-instanced, and completely handcrafted map, we've only seen maybe 5% of this map actually in game, and I'm being generous with that number. The team at Intrepid Studios really pride themselves on their open development and actively show behind the scenes footage, but given their current rate of progress and the fact they have promised more features than games that have been actively in development for 2 decades at this point, honestly starting to have some doubts about it. Now, we could probably argue for years, potentially even till the release of the game, about whether it's better for them to take their time or the pacing at which they're going is good so they can make the best game possible. But I think nothing is going to be quite as telling as the Alpha 2 release that is supposedly coming out this year in Q3. We'll finally be able to dig in, explore, and see everything that the team is working on. But if I was a betting man, I would honestly not be surprised if this is a very short alpha. And yes, it's going to be persistent, but how much content are they really going to get in there? I don't know. I would love to be surprised. I would love to be surprised. I put $500 on it. I would love to be surprised. But I don't know, at this point, maybe we should start looking at some other games. And maybe it's just me, but I found myself triggered seeing all this Ashes of Creation is the last hope for the MMO genre because, well, I think I am just a lot more hopeful than just one title. Sure, we may be a ways off, but we have some really amazing titles in the work from proven development studios coming in the next 5 to 10 years, which honestly, if you look at Ashes of Creation, is probably about the same time frame. Even the Riot MMO is most likely going to be out in 5 to 10 years, if it's not canceled, that is. We have Guild Wars 3 that has been rumored to be in development since 2019 and was officially confirmed this year at an NCSoft shareholder meeting by their co-CEO. We have a new ZeniMax Online Studios MMO in the works. This is the studio that worked on The Elder Scrolls Online, recently selling it to continue development on their new project, which is honestly highly anticipated. Elder Scrolls Online, say what you want about it, has been incredibly successful with their fan base. We also have the on-again, off-again Lord of the Rings project from Amazon Games, whom arguably has had a pretty rough go with New World and Lost Ark, but I think if you put a little bit of copium on the project, they could potentially learn from their past failures and make something really, really exciting. And we all know Lord of the Rings fans are going to play it. In fact, Lord of the Rings Online is still one of the most active MMOs out there to this day. Shoot, one of my favorite IPs of all time, Warhammer, currently has an MMO in development over at Jackalyptic Games in partnership with Games Workshop. And obviously, let's not forget about Project Ghost, the MMO from World of Warcraft vet Greg Street. It's an MMO that is looking to move fast and get the game in the hands of its players as soon as possible. They even have a playable slice of the game already after their first 8 months to a year of development. That's crazy. They're moving fast, and I think we'll see that game in the next 5 years. Either way, there are just a ton of great MMORPGs on the horizon, whether that's Ashes of Creation or something else. So let's keep looking to the horizon or even enjoying any of the other many titles that are already out with just clickbaiting Ashes of Creation is the only hope for MMORPGs. Also, all the games I mentioned are pretty much not going to be pay to win. Like, it's basically confirmed. These companies have never done pay to win, and they're pretty good about their monetization policies, to be honest. And that's why I left out some of those other titles. I plan on checking out Ashes of Creation in great detail when it is in Alpha 2, whenever it releases, that is. So if you're into MMORPGs and made it this far, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. Tell me how wrong I am. I can take it. If you think Ashes of Creation's current development speed is fine, cool, let me know. Are they going to be able to release this game before the Riot MMO? Is Ashes our only hope? I sure hope not, and I think a little competition is healthy for everyone. Anyways, my name is Spun. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with me till the end of the video, and I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you. Peace.